Married people of Reddit, what do you miss about being single? Not having to consider anyone else when making a decision. Yes, not having to factor anyone else in. Things being where I left them. Yep. Can also be an issue with roommates in general. Not being beaten in my sleep by my wife. I bought a king size bed so you could fight your dream ninjas on your side of the bed. Stay away from me, please. It's the snoring that keeps me awake or wakes me up. Not having to justify myself to another adult if I'm getting takeout 2 days in a row. Or hanging out in bed until 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday without anyone hassling you. Worrying about that kind of thing would almost make me feel like I was living with my parents again. Although at least you married people get sex. Quietness. Except for TV. Music of video games, it was so quiet in my house. Now a wife and 3 little girls, it's a madhouse. Sometimes when it's just me and the dog I look over and apologize to him. Face with tears of joy. There are times. The things I miss are cleaning the way I want. I have a thing about liking to clean when no one else is around. Just because how I do it takes time and has a weird system to it. This is me. Also cooking alone. I hate when people are milling about when I cook. Just being alone and being able to do whatever I want. Sleeping in the middle of the bed like a starfish. Also eating in bed and having 5 pillows to myself. Oh, my husband will occasionally ask if he should sleep in the other room so I can starfish. It's really very sweet of him. The excitement of first dating someone you like. I vividly remember the last time I got butterflies before I kissed someone for the first time. There is definitely something about the excitement of meeting someone. The anticipation when you actually schedule time to spend together. Tidiness. My wife is super messy. I'm not expecting her to change. But I do miss it. Edit. Clarification due to some of the comments and questions. Cleanliness is not the issue. She cleans way more, and better, than I do. She just leaves stuff lying around everywhere. I feel this. I just want her to put things away when she's done with them. It looks like there was some kind of Mary Celeste situation every time she does something. Like, how can there not be time to put the milk back in the fridge? It takes 3 seconds. Absolutely nothing. Sleep over with my best friend every night for 30 years. Didn't think I'd have to scroll so far to find this. I feel the same way. I can't think of any aspect of my life that isn't better now. Being alone and not feeling guilty about it. This one 1000x. Not having to share my leftovers. When I was single I could treat myself to Chinese food and the leftovers were mine. Now I have to be considerate and share. It's terrible. Face with stuck out tongue and squinting eyes. Taking off and doing whatever DF I want. My hubby needs a plan when he leaves the house. Sometimes, I just want to go for a drive. Explore. My own bed. I'm married and sleep in my own bed most nights. It started because I went to night shift and it was easier than waking her up at odd hours. I could go without all the rank ass farts. My husband's farts sound like there is a man playing the trombone trapped inside of him. I hate them. They're so freaking loud. But at least they don't really smell, so I guess I have to count my blessings. Not having to explain why I did some mundane thing. Wife, why did you set the toothpaste on the right side of the vanity instead of the left? Me, oh. Not having every damn decision big or small be a conversation and compromise. I used to make all these same decisions by myself and I'm still alive. Feeling like a beach if I disagree or an asshole of I'm indifferent. Feeling like a beach if I disagree or an asshole of I'm indifferent. Yes. Controlling the remote at all times. Watching anything without constant streaming commentary. Watching anything without constant streaming commentary. Dear God. Wondering why I loaded the dishwasher how I did. TBH, sometimes I'll look at the dishwasher I loaded myself and I'm like, what dumbus did this? Oh yeah, it was past me. Eating alone, sleeping alone, going out alone, coming home from work alone, paying the bills alone, watching TV alone, driving alone, going for walks alone, washing the dishes alone, having the house to yourself all the time alone, spending all weekend alone. Talking to yourself alone. Did I mention being alone? I feel suffocated just reading this. Only having to clean my mess. Otherwise my life is better in almost every way. That I had so much more disposable income when I was single. Opposite for me. Splitting the bills in half really helped. Not sleeping next to someone who snores. My so works nights a few times a week so I get some snore free nights unless I have the dog. I'm already a bad sleeper and it takes me hours to settle, so the snoring can be rage inducing. Being able to immediately yes to doing literally anything without having to coordinate plans, clear it with someone else. Sleeping in on the weekends. Loudly crying face. My GF sleeps over on weekends at my place. I'm a morning person and she has the ability to sleep past 9 AM. I let her sleep in while I stare at my phone and drink coffee or play video games. Getting laid. Why are you guys not getting laid? Friends. Don't get me wrong. My wife has done nothing to isolate me, but when you marry your soulmate and best friend, it's easy to think that's all you'll ever need. Add a long hours job to the mix, and before you know it's the only person you interact with away from your desk. Then kids come along, and you'd sacrifice anything for your family, especially free time. But the kids grow up, and your wife craves time away from you and the kids. Then one day you realize, you're alone. Being able to just do something random to kill time without having to justify myself. Having hobbies that you can get lost in and not have to feel bad about taking time for yourself. Traveling alone. I mean, I could travel alone if I really wanted, but it would feel kinda mean to be like, hey, I'm gonna plan a really big cool trip, and you're not invited. There seems to be a lot of I could do what I want, but it would be mean, make me feel guilty. If people just weren't so clingy it wouldn't be an issue. Heading off with my friends on a Saturday without feeling like I just murdered her puppy while fricking her sister. The guilt. My god, the guilt. Take it from someone who's been there. Money. My money was my money to do whatever I wanted. Separate bank accounts and splitting the bills have done wonders for us. I'm a spender and she's a penny pincher. Nothing. My partner is my favorite thing about life. My partner makes me a better version of myself with their support, positivity, communication, and love. I can't even imagine life without them. I was married once before, but then I found my soulmate and everything changed. Tiny people not touching my stuff. I have to be organized to stay focused and my hubs and both kids have ADHD. Starting any project is a guessing game as to where any necessary item is located, and it's really hard to be the only one in the house that plans ahead. Actually, not a damned thing. I'm a better human being with my wife. My life is richer with someone who understands me as well as she does. Honestly, nothing. I married someone almost 20 years ago who's easier to live with than without. Edit. On a side note, there are more happily married people in this thread than other thread I've ever seen on Reddit. Just to make a spontaneous idea to come true. Like road trip. So in advance. It's nice and I would do it again. But the freedom to plan his time at short notice. In the evening just stay out late or even a few days just sit in front of the computer and gaming, that is missing. Even if it's not a problem for the wife, you still have a guilty conscience. Being able to spend a day completely vegging out. Being lazy. Doing nothing. Can't seem to do that anymore. Having just my own stuff in my space. My husband is a pack rat. I won't let him truly be a hoarder. It feels like I never stop cleaning and organizing. There's a constantly encroaching mess and I'm the only person who cares to do anything about it. A clean, minimalist environment. My husband grew up poor and lost most of what he did have in a fire. I believe that's why he's a hoarder now. He gets irritated at me for packing up his stuff in an ongoing and losing effort to have some livable space. Maybe hater for boxing up his stuff, but we're talking things like impulse eBay and Amazon buys that he lost interest in as soon as they arrived and didn't even take out of the package. Years of junk mail and magazines that he is going to read when he has time. And broken electronics that are beyond repair. Most every flat surface is piled up and there's boxes, totes, and trash bags chest high in every corner. I can't keep the house adequately clean because it's just so hard with all the stuff and there's no place to sit. I won't let anyone come over because I'm embarrassed, but he honestly doesn't see a problem. He refuses to get a storage unit because he wants it all where he can easily get to it whenever he wants. His solution is that we need to start looking for a bigger house. I love him and I don't want to not be with him, but sometimes I fantasize about a little, shiny clean space with just the basics, like I used to have. Sometimes being alone, but rarely. I love my wife and my life is much better because of her. Freedom, said in William Wallace's voice. Nothing. I was thinking the same thing. I don't really miss being single. This thread made me feel happy and confident in the person I chose to marry. In this thread, kind of shoot marriages. Marrying my husband was the most natural thing in the world. We're both so comfortable around each other that it hardly feels like sharing space with someone other. I don't miss a damn thing about being single. Sex? Not a goddamn thing. I've been with my husband longer than without at this point and can hardly remember what before felt like. But I'm pretty sure it was shooty. I've got it really good now. Never married. Spent many years worrying about dying alone. Now I will probably never marry and 100% of these answers are depressing.